Hello, this is Renee again. I was gonna just do a video, hopefully not as long as the other one. Sorry about that, but just to kind of show um, how I visualize what signals I'm getting, and then how to figure out the math for what kind of return you're expecting for a year. This one, I just really this isn't common. I wouldn't get 8.6% for a year. I'll show on a fresh chart, but basically, I just started with $10,000 and then figured out, 1% risk on 94.2 pips. $100 would be 1% divided by 94.2, and then I would be doing two trades at however many cents per pip, to equal the two halves of that 2% trade, 1%, 1%. Anyway, so I'll show on a fresh chart here. If you already know this stuff, then you already know it, but maybe some people will benefit from this, or who knows. Okay, so let's see here. So let's say that I was starting out with 10,000, and let's see here. So 1% of 10,000 is, well, let me go grab a calculator real quick. Hold on. Be right back. Okay, so now I have a calculator. So basically, I enter two 1% trades on each one. It's easier to figure out that way. The first 1%, just looking to see if it hits that green line, the take profit, and then the second 1%, looking to see if it went back and hit break even, or if it continued, or did it get stopped out by whatever my exit or baseline is. So 10,000, 1% of that is $100, and my stop loss here is at 81 point. Maybe I didn't enter everything exactly correct, but anyway, 81.6 pips. So $100 divided by 81.6 pips gives us $1.22 per pip. And so let's see here. So on our first trade here, we can see that this trade did not hit take profit. I'm not going to take profit if it just barely doesn't even really touch, because sometimes that's not enough to even get past the spread. So anyway, it didn't go all the way to the take loss, but it got stopped out right here. So the high of this candle, or I'm sorry, the close of this candle right here is 0.72819. And so let's see here. Okay. 0.72819 minus 0.72225 is, so it went 59.4 pips into the negative. So from the center line where I entered the trade to here, it went 59 pips against me. And so 59.4 times $1.22 per pip equals $72.46 per trade. So 72.46 times 2. So I lost $144.92 on that. because I essentially, both halves of my trade went against me. So it was the full 2% moving against me to here. Okay, so lost $1.44.92. Okay. Lost $144.92. Okay. So now my total is 9,855.08. Okay, times 1%. 0.08 times 1%. So 1% would be $98.55. 98.55 divided by, what's my biggest risk here? 81.9, $98.55 divided by 81.9 is $1.20 a pip for each half of that trade. So we can even, if it makes it easier, we can say $1.20 per pip. Okay, so let's look at what happened here. So we entered the trade here at $1.20 per pip times 2. One trade at $1.20 per pip, and then another trade at $1.20 per pip. So this one did not hit the stop loss, and it did not break this 9 EMA that we're practicing with. And so this one actually won here. So it went 54.6 pips at $1.20 a pip. Okay, so the first half went, let's see, 54.6 pips. 54.6 pips at $1.20 a pip. Okay, 54.6 times 1.20. So that is a win of 65.52. And then the second half of the trade, where did that go to? So the second half of the trade, okay, again, we're starting here where we entered. And where did it go to? So we won, and then it didn't. We moved this to break even. It didn't hit the break even. It actually, let's see. Looks like it stopped out here, but let's make sure a trailing loss wouldn't hit either. So how do you figure out a trailing loss? So let's see here. I'm just talking out loud here. I'm not trying to just show an example. I'm not trying to be like a know-it-all or anything. I have a lot to learn. So I'm just talking out loud here. So let's see. So we're going to look at the ATR. Okay, so the ATR down here that we entered was at 54 pips. So let's call it 108 trailing stop. So how do you know where the trailing stop would have gotten stopped out? You're going to go from a swing low up to the next swing high, which would be here, and that's not 108 pips. So, okay, we didn't get stopped out there. And then let's go from here to a swing high. Okay, it looks like we would have got stopped out on this one. Like, let's call it right about here, okay? So our trailing stop would have hit even though the candle didn't close on the other side, but we would have got stopped out right here. So we're not gonna like be really super nitpicky about this. Let's just see how many pips we got. So from roughly about here to back here where we entered, so that's a good 170 pips. Nice. So second half of the trade, we're gonna call it 170 pips times $1.20 a pip equals 170 times $1.20, so $204. All right, cool. So 204 plus 65.52. So that's a total of 269.52 altogether. Okay, so we were starting out here at 98.5508 before we entered this trade, and we got a pretty big win here. So 98.55.08, crap, 98.55.08 plus 269.52. Okay, so now we are moving on to this one, and we're starting with our balance of $10,124.60. Okay, and then what is 1% of that? Times 1% is 101. Okay, so it's 101.246. Let's just call it 24. I don't care about rounding up. So $101.24 we're going to risk, because it's going to be two halves of 1% each. So this is 1%, 101.24. Okay, and then this is going long, so we're looking down here to see how much are we risking. We're risking 84 pips at $101.24 is our max, is our 1% risk. So 101.24 divided by 84 gives us $1.20 a pip. So we're just going to call it $1.20 a pip. Okay. And then let's see what happens. So we entered the trade here, and we obviously won. So we know we hit the first take profit. So the first take profit was at 56 pips. You can see right there. Okay, so 56, first half of the trade. 56 pips times, what was it? Oh, sorry, $1.20. That's right. times $1.20 a pip equals 56 times $1.20 is $67.20 when, and then what happened on the second 1% that we risked? Okay, let's look here. So we would move our stop loss to break even. It did not come back and hit the break even, so we're still following the trade. What's our ATR? It's 56, so our trailing, if we have one, would be like 112 pips. So just to keep in mind. So looks like, it came back and we would have gotten stopped out here. But let's see if our trailing loss makes a difference or not. So let's pretend that our high was here and then going down to here. No, we wouldn't have gotten stopped out at 82 pips on a trailing loss. So it would have kept going. And so let's go from this swing high and see. Nope, it still wouldn't have hit our trailing loss. So we would have gotten out right here. Okay, so what is the close on that candle? 0.72489. Okay, 0.72489. And then where did we enter again? Minus 0.71428. So that would have been 106.1 pips win. Okay, so 106.1 pips times $1.20 a pip. Okay, 106.1 times 120 would be $127.32 for a total win. 127.32 on our second half of our trade, plus the $67.20 win from our first take profit, so $194.52. Okay, awesome. So we're gonna take $10,124.60 plus $194.52. 6. Okay, so now on our next trade, we are we have 10,319.12. Okay, that's what we're starting with. And this is just one currency. We're not taking other, trades that might be going on for different pairs at the same time. This is just kind of figuring out a simple calculation to see what would we get on that one currency pair. Obviously, I'm just kind of talking out loud. So, okay, so $10,319.12 times 1%. Okay, so $103.19. Okay, $103.19 divided by what we're standing to risk here. We're looking at a biggest loss at 92.2 for each half of the trade. So 101%, $103.19 divided by 92.2. We're looking at $1.11919, blah blah blah. So we'll just say $1.11 per pip. Okay. $1.11 per pip. Okay, so we entered the trade here, and did it hit the stop loss? No. Did it close across the 9 EMA? No. It's a short trade. It hit the take profit for the first half of the trade. And so the first half of the trade is worth 61.5 pips. Okay, so first half, 61.5 pips, I think, times $1.11 a pip. 61.5 times 1.11. Okay, so that is a $68, and we're just gonna round 26, whatever. Okay, and then the second half, that other 1%, let's see what happened. So when this first trade won, right here, we would move our stop loss to break even. It did not go back to hit the break even. It kept going. Awesome. We had a big kind of pullback right here. So we'll have to see if that would have hit a trailing law or trailing stop, you know what I mean? Or did it get out here? So, or did it get out here? Because is that flash crash thing that happened? Yeah, okay. So what do we do to check the trailing? I'm just using a 2 times ATR. So what's the ATR down here? Would be 61, 122, let's call it 123. And so checking from our low of this candle to the swing high, and no, we wouldn't have gotten, our trailing loss wouldn't have hit until about here. So I mean, I hate to give credit for this because this is kind of an anomaly. I mean, to sit here and say that it went all the way to here when the chances of that happening. So I'd rather I'm going to pretend that this long old thing, this flash crash thing or whatever isn't here, just not to skew the numbers too bad. And I'm just going to kind of go from the bottom of this candle. I think that's fair, and see 123. Let's call it like, I don't know, right here. Okay. So we saved a little bit. We didn't get stopped out all the way up here, but the trailing loss saved us a little bit. So let's just roughly go from there. And let's call it 116. Let's call it 116 pips, okay? Okay, so 116 pips on that second half times $1.11 per pip. Okay. And 116 times $1.11, we're looking at 128.76 plus 68.26. So we're looking at a total win of 197.02. Okay, so moving along. Okay, you would just keep going like this. I think you get it. So $10,319.12 plus our total winnings of 197.02. 3, 1, 9, 1, 2. Okay, and so then here we go again. We're starting this trade with 10,516.14. Okay. And honestly, we're just having a lucky run on this one, I think. They don't all work out this way. This one's going to turn out pretty good, but I don't think I need to like keep going and going and going. This video is already kind of long and I don't want to bore everybody to death, but hopefully you kind of get the idea. So this is kind of what I did on this one, and I ended up with 8.6% return. But again, check this one out, which I haven't calculated yet. I just barely got the boxes in there. But look how many losses this one had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, Lord. So anyway, I've been thinking about instead of just choosing one trade per currency pair, because I've really never been a very lucky person. Like they say, okay, you've got 6 possible trades for this one currency. Choose just one trade and go with it. I'm probably going to choose the one that isn't going to win. I don't know. Probably a blessing in disguise because I've never gotten addicted to gambling or anything like that, because they're just not lucky that way. So I just stay away from that. But I have been thinking about, instead of risking 1% per half, I've been thinking about risking like 0.2% per half or 0.1. That way I don't put all my eggs in one basket, so to speak. If I want to take 6 or 8 trades involving the same 2 currencies, or, I'm going to spread out my risk, and maybe one will do really bad like this, but maybe the other 5 will do fairly decent. I don't know. I'd rather spread it out that way than just choose one and see if that one's going to be the one that takes off. But anyway, when I have a chance to calculate this, I'll show any, if anybody's interested or not. It's something to look at anyway. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. And then what I plan to do here is just kind of move this baseline around a little bit to see, and maybe recalculate this and see kind of what that does. Just one or two times. Not you can see it's a little bit time consuming, but I think it's worth it just for the practice. And then this one here, you can see if I'm not going to trade my entire strategy, or I'm not going to change it unless I backtest the entire thing. But it is interesting to look and see, like here, okay, let's say if we went with a 22 or whatever, this would have just been one giant win. But how is that gonna negatively affect me on these other ones that look pretty good? And if I change that to a 22, what would this really look like? So anyway, I don't know, kind of interesting. Just up after work by myself, trying to keep on testing and keep on learning. And I think this has potential. So, all right. Hope you guys have a good night or morning wherever you are in the world. Take care.